Hello and welcome back to Bookmark Chronicles. Today I'm doing my June wrap up, starting off with monthly stats. I didn't read a lot. I read 5 books, which if you looked at my calendar for this month, that makes sense. So why I thought that I was going to be able to accomplish anything more than that, I really don't know. But I read 5 books, 1 DNF, 669 pages, which is so low, and 35 hours of audio. Out of the books that I read, 2 were romance, 1 was a mystery, and 1 was fantasy. 3 were audiobooks, 1 was an ebook, and 1 was physical. 1 of the books that I read was new adult, 2 were YA, and 2 were adult. As far as ratings, we have 1 2-star, 2 3.75 stars, 1 4.25 star, and 1 4.5 star. So not great. All 5 of the books that I read this month were novels, and 3 of the authors were new to me. So the first book that I read was The Obsession by Jesse Q. Sutanto. This was a book I had heard about from another booktuber, I can't remember who. I believe Robin gifted this to me, and the tagline says, "Boy meets girl, boy stalks girl, girl gets revenge," and that is pretty damn accurate. I had fun with it. It was a good read. I will say being in the stalker's POV was a time, but I rated it 3.75 stars. If you are into sort of stalker things, maybe give it a try. It is YA, so keep that in mind. They're in like high school. It's like a boarding school, but also not everyone boards, so some people do commute. It was interesting. It was very interesting, but also very frustrating just because of the things that were going on and how the characters handled them. And yes, I understand that they're teenagers and they're young, but it was interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. Then I read Figure of Speech by Kasha Thompson. This is a book that I found on KU. I have an entire rant review of this because I didn't like it. In this, we're following Clover Bennett, who has just been hired as press secretary for the White House, and she and the president have known each other for quite some time, and he is making it very clear that he is interested in her, and she's trying to avoid that because optics and how that will look, especially workplace romances with a man as powerful as the president, how that's going to look for her and her career. Watch my rant review because I have so many thoughts, so many feelings. This is one of those books where there's something that happens that I feel is unforgivable, and it made it so hard to root for the couple. So I personally hated it. I will not be reading anything by this author again. I DNF'd 2 previous books from her and then finished this one through just because I was curious to see if my concerns were going to be addressed, and they weren't. So there's that, but I will have that review link for you. Then I read Mickey Chambers Shakes It Up. This is a really cute contemporary workplace romance, and I would definitely recommend. I am working on a dedicated review for that, so that will come out soon. In this, we're following Mickey, who is an adjunct professor at a university, but she only has 1 class to teach for the summer, and she needs to find another way to supplement her income. So she ends up getting a job at a bar, and that's where she meets Diego, who is the grumpy owner of the saloon. He is also re-enrolling in classes because he was never able to finish his degree due to family circumstances. So it's an interesting dynamic because Mickey is his professor, but Diego is her boss. I had a really fun time with this. I rated it 4.5 stars, and I would definitely recommend if you like grumpy sunshine, forced proximity, workplace romance, and a little bit of a slow burn. Then I attempted to read Handle with Care by Jodi Picoult. I have loved most of the things that I have read by her, and I do still like her writing, but it's also just like not what I gravitate towards anymore. And this one specifically, we're following a family that has a very sick child. She has this bone disease and her bones break so easily. So we're following them through their life. You know, they try to make as many accommodations for their little girl as they can, but then they end up in situations where other people don't understand or don't know the situation with their daughter, and it makes things very complicated for them. So I had an idea of what was going to happen pretty quickly. I feel like it was a tad predictable, and I skipped ahead to the last chapter just to see how things were going to go, and then I read some reviews and it turned out that I was right, and so I just didn't feel the need to keep going. I ended up DNFing. I didn't get too far in. It's not a bad book, I want to make that very clear. I just think that I wasn't really feeling the content matter. However, if you are not someone who wants to read about having a sick child, absolutely do not pick this up. Otherwise, if you like contemporary fiction and you like court cases, which a lot of her books do feature, then I would recommend. Then Alana and I buddy read The Blood Gift by N.E. Davenport. This is the ending to the Blood Gift duology. In the first book, The Blood Trials, we're following Ikenna Amari, who is getting ready to graduate from a military academy. However, her grandfather recently passed away. She's just been given information that tells her that perhaps his death was not an accident, and so she's going to use her training and her knowledge to find out what really happened to her grandfather. I really enjoyed that first book, and I was surprised at how much I liked it. I went into this one knowing from other people that it was going to be a little disappointing, and it absolutely was. I feel like perhaps this needed to be a trilogy, maybe even 4 books. I don't know why it's only a duology, but the way that it ended was very unsatisfying. I understand that this is a fantasy romance, okay? However, this is my biggest pet peeve when it comes to fantasy romance and why I don't like it and why I struggle a lot of times with fantasies that have romance subplots. I get that the romance is a part of it and that it's important, right? But making hard eyes at someone when you are in literal danger, when you are starting an actual war, when the enemy is right there, like you're about to head into battle head on right now, like now's not the time. Now is not the time. Focus, bitch. I need you. Get your head in the game, okay? We can do all this shit later. And I can understand wanting to say goodbye just in case, but it's gotta be quick. I need you to focus. I need you to get it done. And then we can go back to that. But right now, this ain't the time. So I ended up rating it 3.75 stars because I did still enjoy it. I did still have fun, but the romance really pissed me off, and I hate unresolved endings. I don't like ambiguous endings. Like, there's one thing that we're harping on so much, and then we have the opportunity and she's trying to drag this shit out, and I'm like, no, bitch. Get it done. Do it now. Let's kill the dramatics, all right? And then it just never happens. And I'm just like, this is what I was waiting for. Justice needed to be served. We needed revenge. And you wasted time. And now I'm pissed. And then also the ending, it's literally like this huge thing is about to happen. The end. So are we getting a spinoff? How are we gonna fix this? Miss Davenport, we need to talk, because I am unsatisfied and something needs to be done about it. I don't know what, but something. And then the last book that I read was Slay by Brittany Morris. This is a young adult book about a girl. She's in high school and she has created an entire virtual reality world specifically for the Black community. The game is called Slay and it features cards. It's sort of like a dueling game where you can like pair the cards together for certain moves and, you know, take points away from your opponent, this, that, and the third. It's very much like a Black culture game. But then a player of the game gets murdered in real life over something that happens in the game. And so this sort of, not underground, but the secret community is exposed. It's all over the news. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's wanting the creator to come forward and to speak. The game is being accused of being racist and all this other shit. And there's so many layers to this book, and it really was not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting because I never read the synopsis, but I never do, so we're not surprised. The ending and the way that things unfolded, it's frustrating, but I liked it. I ended up rating it 4.25 stars, and I was able to predict some of the things at the end. So like we're like led to believe one thing, but as soon as that gets dispelled, I was like, oh shit, I know what's going on. And then to be proven right, I do think it does a good job of also showing that the Black community is not a monolith and that we have different interests, and there are going to be, you know, pockets of our communities that like different things, but at the end of the day, they can all still be unified. Overall, it was really good. It was very well done. And in a way, kind of like A Song Below Water, one that I kind of thought was about something else, but it ends up being like much deeper and more relevant to the time. So those are two books that I would definitely recommend to people. This was very well done, and I would definitely be interested to read something else by Brittany Morris. So those are all the books that I read in June. Like I said, there were not many. However, I do think that July is going to be a really fun reading month. I'm really excited for it. Also, I am almost done with The Final Strife, my reread of it. I'm hoping to finish that today so that I can jump to the Battle Drum. Robin and I thought we were gonna read on our trip to Chicago, which you'll be seeing in the next video. That didn't happen. That just didn't happen. But so I do have to finish those 2, which I'll do this week. I'll include them in my July wrap up, of course, but those are in the works. So let me know if you have read any of these or if they are on your TBR, particularly Slay and Mickey Chambers. Both of them I really love, so I want to hear your opinions. Otherwise, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next video.